This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
Question. Would you, or have you, or will you allow your 17-year-old to go on a post-leaving cert holiday? Over the last 10, 15, 20 years, it has become a thing. You do your exams and then a whole gang of you head off to Magaluf or Crete or Ayia Napa or one of the lively resorts around Europe. But this lady who contacted us is none too happy. She does not want to let her 17-year-old go and is causing bloody murder in their house. Jackie, you're on 98FM. How are you, Jackie?
Hi, Adrian. How's it going?
Good, thanks, Jackie. Would you let a 17-year-old go on holidays?
Well, I couldn't say myself because I don't have kids. But in my text I said that my parents let my sister go at 18 when she did her leaving. And, she was a very responsible kind of person, but they didn't let me go at 18.
Oh, really?
I actually went to Ayia Napa when I was 21 on my first big girly holiday for 2 weeks.
And
so it just depends.
Who's older, you or your sister?
So my sister is older, yeah. I'm the youngest of the family.
Okay, so
they're right not to let me go.
Why?
Because I was not responsible at that age at all. I was a bit of a wild child, like.
But she was?
She was sensible, yeah.
And
yeah.
I assume nothing happened and the holiday went off and they all had a great time,
yeah.
did they?
Yeah, they had a great time, yeah.
But for you, and you even understand, was it even an issue? Did you even ask to go?
No, it wasn't even that much. I mean, maybe there wasn't that many of my friends going that year as well, whereas a lot of her friends would, but I don't think I would have been able to. I don't think I was ready for it, to be honest, if the option had come up.
Okay, so it depends on how much you trust the child. In your case, you couldn't be trusted, and it was you were never going to be going.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, I went on other little trips and stuff, but just not that kind of sun holiday, thing for a week or 2 weeks, no. That wasn't going to be an option, no.
Okay, so this lady, she doesn't actually describe whether or not she's a mature young one or whatever. Mind you can be as mature as you like and still get into trouble in places like this.
I think it comes down to the individual and their friends as well, like birds of a feather flock together and all that. I think if she trusts her daughter, you could have a very mature 17-year-old, you could have a very immature 25-year-old, it just depends on her own relationship with her daughter, I think. And
okay.
if the daughter's around.
Stay there for 1 second, 6797 981. Sharina, you're on 98FM. How are you, Sharina?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, Sharina, you have a 17-year-old doing the Leaving Cert.
Yes.
And would you like to go on a holiday
No.
after? Oh, he hasn't even asked, has he not?
No way. No, have no interest. My 15-year-old can't wait to get the 6th year so she can go away.
Right.
But he is so quiet. We're compared to her, she's crazy. And she's the one I worry about when the time comes.
Yeah, you see, I'm wondering, if it becomes an issue, will you just say no?
Oh yeah, I have no problem saying no. She won't talk to me, but that's okay. I can deal with that.
Now, this lady's daughter has said that her mammy is making her a social outcast by not allowing her to go on this holiday. All of her friends are going to Ayia Napa. This one girl is not allowed go.
Yeah, in the whole world, she's not allowed go. I understand the mother because my daughter would be exactly the same. She'd be, you'll never let me do anything. I'm locked up like a prisoner. Oh yeah, I get that. I get it already.
Right, but you don't care.
No, I don't care.
Okay, why would you not allow a 17-year-old to go?
Because I don't think they're responsible enough. They think they are, but they really aren't. And I think girls, are worse than boys.
But okay, if a girl has been on, family holidays in the past, they know the setup when you go to Spain or wherever. Surely they're not that thick.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with you there.
Oh, you think they are that thick?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. Not thick as in stupid, but they would do crazy things.
Mick, you think this could backfire on her, do you?
Yeah, the cotton wool around the child all her life, yeah.
But she believes that sending her daughter or letting her daughter go to somewhere like Ayia Napa, it's I don't know if you've ever been there, it's a fairly lively place. with all sorts of dodgy goings on if you're not streetwise, and maybe this young one isn't.
Oh, there you go. You just said it. You just picked the winner out of the bag, didn't you? It's the kids, not streetwise. Probably because, probably because Mammy has everything.
Oh, sorry, Mick. We're going to have to ring you back and try and get you on a better line if you can hang up there. Lads, can we ring Mick back? Thank you. Niamh, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Niamh?
I'm good, Adrian. How are you?
Anybody who stays in Ireland for the summer will find it tedious, monotonous, just boring. A 17-year-old wants to go to Ayia Napa. It's a place that's not dull. It's the exact opposite. You wouldn't let them go either.
No, I mean, I want to go to the Bahamas, but I'm not going there either. No. I have a 17-year-old. No. I mean, legally, they're not even allowed drink. I know they do, and that's fair enough. And I know my own daughter has a few drinks every now and again. But legally, how do they even get into pubs and clubs over there if somebody asks them for ID? Are we going to pay for fake ID for them as well?
Well, it depends where you're going. If you're going to Spain, for example, the drinking age is actually 16. So now I don't know what it is in Ayia Napa, but is your 17-year-old doing the leaving cert?
No, she'll be doing hers next year.
Okay, so next year she'll be 18.
Yeah.
Not much you can do if she says she's going.
There's not much. Well, there technically is. I mean, who's paying for this? Do you know what I mean? Like, is this woman, is she being asked to pay for flights and spending money, the whole 9 yards? If that's the case, she holds the cards. I mean, she's paying for it. And if she doesn't, I mean, I just know if my 17-year-old went over there, I wouldn't sleep a wink. I'd be terrified. It's not
But
her.
does this come back
I'd
to
be
what
worried about.
Mick was saying, that you can't wrap them up in cotton wool all their lives? And if they're not streetwise, it's because parents have wrapped them up in cotton wool. You need to let them go.
I don't think that's wrapping them up in cotton wool. I think that's just taking basic common sense precautions as you know, there's stuff going on over there, there's people over there, you know, a 17-year-old might think they're streetwise and might think they know it all in their own area. That's totally different to going to a place where everyone is a hell of a lot older than you, and even the best kid in the world could get dragged into something that she's not able to deal with.
Okay, so this time next year, and hypothetically your then 18-year-old says all the gang are going to wherever, Magaluf or Ayia Napa or whatever, are you just going to say, well, you'll have to pay for it yourself?
No, I can't. You can't do that. At 18, she'll be 18 in a bit. She'll be 18 in January, so she'll be 18 and a half nearly. There's not a hell of a lot I can do about that. She's an adult. And, you know, you'd hope that they'd be sensible enough. And there really isn't an awful lot I can do about it if she decides.
Okay, but you said that one of the issues could be who's actually paying for it. Would you pay for it?
That.
Or will you refuse?
I don't know. Because it just seems to me that there is a difference between 17 and 18. I know it seems silly, but 17 is just still very young.
You see, that's the bit I don't get. I don't get how between now and this time next year, your now 17-year-old will suddenly mature into an 18-year-old adult and will be completely different by this time next year.
She probably won't. And you know what, to be totally honest with you, Adrian, I probably still wouldn't be happy with it. I probably still would feel very uncomfortable about it. It just seems like it's, especially with some of these kids, it's their first time away. And you were saying about, you know, they know what's going on when they're away. They've been away before. But what you do in front of your parents is a hell of a lot different to what you do. We've all seen that Sun-See and Suspicious Parents program. Like, what they do away is totally different. The situations they could get themselves into. To be honest, I would be very, very worried about it. And it's not because I don't trust her. She's a good kid. It's just, it would make me very, very nervous, I have to be honest.
Okay, this 17-year-old and her mother, what was her mother's name? Leanne. There's murder in their house over this on a daily basis by the sounds of it. Do you think the mother is right? Should she be a boring parent and stick by her decision?
Do you know what I think she should? Because she obviously really does not want her to go. And you're going to hear that. I'm sure Leanne has heard this a million times. I hear it for the last 4 years, I've heard it on a weekly basis that I'm ruining her life. The amount of times apparently I've ruined her life is incredible. And her life seems fine. So she will get over it. And, you know, as I think one of the other callers said, is, you know, she's not the only kid that's not going. She just thinks she is. I mean, it's not going to kill her not to go. But I don't know, maybe she should sit and talk to the other parents that are letting their girls go and see what their attitude is and see if they can make her feel any better about it if she is on the fence.
By the sounds of it, she's not on the fence at all. But
No,
if your daughter, Niamh, was doing her Leaving Cert this year and this was an issue, would you let her go?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Mick, let me just go back to you for 1 second. Absolutely not. Don't let a 17-year-old go on the holidays.
Well, Adrian, these are probably parents that never actually done this thing themselves.
What age were you when you went on your first holiday, Niamh?
I was working. You see, this wasn't today or yesterday. So, in fairness, the Leaving Cert holiday wasn't even dreamt of when I did my Leaving Cert. I think we got a meal out or something ridiculous. So, I suppose I was working, so it would have been maybe 19, 20.
Mick, do you think that these parents are dull and boring?
Yeah, Jesus, Adrian. Like when I was that age, I went off to High Stances, and we had a deadly time, you know. So that's why I told my daughter all about my time, and when I paid for this holiday, I gave her a spend of money. I'll show you how responsible my daughter is, Adrian. When she first got her fake ID, she actually came in and showed me. She hides nothing from me. She tells me everything. She knows the big bad world, you know. I don't sugarcoat anything with her. And that's why I know I can trust her to go away and be honest.
Right, okay. So, you let her go. Where did she go?
She's got Ayia Napa.
She did go to Ayia Napa, right.
Yeah.
And
she loved it.
You paid for the whole thing. She was only 17.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards, Adrian. And the gas thing is, her friends actually were jealous of her because I gave her to spend the money as well.
Right, well, you're a nice daddy, aren't you?
Well, I wanted her to enjoy it, you know. She done great in her exams and she put her head down, so that was her reward.
Niamh was saying that if it was her child that went away, she wouldn't sleep for the whole time she was away. Did you?
I slept like a baby. Like at the end of the day, Adrian, what are you going to do? Like anything that can happen in Ayia Napa can happen 2 roads away from your house.
Niamh, I mean, there is no argument with that. Anything that could happen in somewhere like Ayia Napa could happen to you here.
No, I mean, look, I'm not going to slag Mick off. Fair enough. He let his daughter go. It's just personally for me, I just couldn't do it. You know, and it's not that I wrap her up in cotton wool. She goes out. She goes out with her friends. She goes out to parties. She, you know, I can trust her. She comes in when she says she will. It's not her. I don't. No, I do. I. It's not her I don't trust. It's everybody else that's over there.
But then do you let her outside the front door here?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, of course she
sure?
does. I mean, she goes.
You got GPS on her?
No, do you know what? No, she's absolutely fine. She's a grandkid. She goes where she wants. She goes out. She goes out with her friends. She goes to parties.
But just can't leave the country?
No, not at 17. No, she can't.
Wow.
Nothing, I am assuming, Mick, happened to your daughter at all, or that you even heard of?
No, and trust me, Agent, if it did happen, she definitely would have told me about it, or she would have been on the phone to me the minute after it happened.
And what would you have done if something had happened? Hopped on a plane and gone over to her, or?
Yeah, of course. Be on the bloody next flight over. But at the end of the day, I trusted her. I wanted her to get a bit more life experience. She made an agreement with me. If she studied as hard as she could, looked after herself in school, that I would give her the holiday and I would look after everything. And I did. And she did. So.
Okay, but stay there for 1 second, because sex and drugs are the two things most associated with the beautiful city of Amsterdam. And Francis, that is where your son went on his Leaving Cert holiday, Amsterdam.
Yeah. There was about 14 or 15 of them. They went to the Awakening Dance Festival over there, which is a whole weekend dance festival, but they stayed for a week. Mm-hmm. They had a great time. Now, he was 18. He'd just done his leaving, and he had turned 18 just a few months before. But there comes a time when you have to trust them and say, you know right from wrong.
So
You've grown
what did you
together.
say? He went to a dance festival
Yeah.
and then they stayed for the week after.
Yeah, say they went on a Thursday and
Yeah.
the dance festival started on the Saturday. Saturday and Sunday was the dance festival. They came home the following Thursday.
Right. No, I mean, dance festivals by their very nature are, in a lot of cases, riddled with drugs. Does that not worry you at all?
Well, it worries me, but there comes a time. I mean, he could be in a club in town. Town is riddled with clubs or with drugs. So are pubs in Ireland. So, I mean, from that perspective, that wouldn't worry me as such, because you just have to say you either trust them or you don't. Do I not let him into Dublin? There's no place as dangerous as Dublin, as capital cities go.
No, I agree. It isn't the safest place. Something we've spoken about on this programme in the past. But when they're away in somewhere like Amsterdam or Ayia Napa or whatever, I mean, I know Mick said he'd hop on the next available flight if something happened to her, and that's all great. But it's not like they're down the road like they are in Dublin.
No, but I mean, it possibly would take me less time to get to Amsterdam than it might up to Donegal or someplace, you know. So from that perspective, you know, they have to learn to. You have to learn to let go at some stage, and that's where him and all his friends are going. They organised apartments over there. They organise the transport to and from the festivals. Here's the key question. Is there a difference between being 17 and being 18? Some kids finish their Leaving Cert when they're still only 17, some are 18. Is there a difference? Well, my son was 18. It depends on the child, really it does, and it depends on their friends. I mean, you have to have, you know, some kids at that age are not streetwise. They have no... they've been maybe led a sheltered life, have no life experience going out even into Dublin to clubs or whatever, you know. So I think it depends on the child. I don't think that you can make a general sweeping statement, you know, as to... I mean, I know 17-year-olds and they're very immature, and you would think they're only 14 or 15 because they've really never done anything. But then I know 17 or 18-year-olds that would shock you with some of the things they've done or places where they've been. So, I mean, it depends on the child. And you have to have... Now,
the one thing that Leanne doesn't say to me in her message is how mature her child is or otherwise.
Yeah.
But she's point blank refusing to let her go.
What we did say was, like, stick together. Always, you know, always kind of be two of yous.
Never go on your own anywhere and all of that.
Don't go on your own anywhere, you know. Let everybody know. Always keep
all
your
sound
phone
advice
on.
until one of them gets drunk and goes missing.
But as I say, that can happen anywhere. I mean, there's nowhere as bad as Dublin. My son was attacked 10 minutes from the house last year by 6 guys that he didn't know. He was just jumped on randomly. So
where did that happen?
Know. That happened in Hartstown.
Wow.
And he's still paying the consequences for that. He was just walking home from his friend's house one night. So, I mean, they broke his teeth, broke his nose, jumped on his head. He ended up in hospital. So, I mean, there's nowhere as violent as Dublin.
So what, they could be safer going away by listening.
Well, I'm not saying safer, but I mean, cities are cities, and no matter where you are in Europe, you take precautions no matter whether you're going into Dublin or whether you're going to Amsterdam. You just have to be sensible about it and talk to your kids about it, you know. But make sure that they always have their phone and that they're never alone. That, you know, they kind of buddy up with somebody. Now, he was lucky that, you know, because there was 14 and 15 lads, they were all doing the same thing, had the same interests, so they were kind of all together. You know, there was never less than 5 of them, I suppose, at one stage. But, I mean, the year before he was 17, we spent the holidays in Ibiza, and he did the clubs in Ibiza with his girlfriend, you know.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Joe, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Joe?
How are you doing, Adrian?
I'm very good, thank you, Joe. Well,
I'm going through this as we speak now with my 17-year-old daughter. She wants to go to Liverpool. Under no circumstances will she be getting anywhere near. And I'll tell you what made me mind up on this. couple of weeks ago, it was one of her friend's 18th birthday parties. And the rule is, if she's going, now my girl's a sensible girl, but if she's going, I pick her up. That's the rule. She's going out anywhere, I pick her up.
And sorry, what age is she?
She's 17. She's 18 in August.
Okay.
She's a good girl. She's decent enough. She knows how to look after herself, but she's still very naive, right? But this is what made my mind up on this situation. I went to pick her up a couple of weeks ago from her friend's 18th, and when I pulled up outside, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the carry-on of all her drunk friends. Not her, her friends, the people she's going to be in the company of. Now, I'm not old. I'm 28 years of age. I started young. I moved out when I was 16. I've done all of this.
That's exactly what I was about to say to you.
I've done it all. I know what goes on. And when I was away, when I was 17, and I'd see the group of drunk girls, I'd make a beeline for them. Because they're the easy target. Totally. And no one would probably come on and admit that, but that's what men do. That's exactly what men will do. And I'd done it when I was that age. And I'd see a group of drunk girls go, here we go, these are all gamey, let's go for this. And you can't protect them, I understand, but that happens everywhere. And there's no way I'm going to put my daughter in that situation. And anybody that does is a bad parent in my eyes.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. My job is to protect my child, and I'll do that for as long as I can.
So you just heard Frances, who allowed her son to go to Amsterdam on a Leaving Cert holiday to a dance festival and then spending the following days in Amsterdam.
I was in Amsterdam. Yeah. It's no place for a 17-year-old. No place for a 17-year-old. I was there. I done what had to be done in Amsterdam. I went and experienced everything in Amsterdam, and it's not for a 17-year-old.
Well, no, in Francis' case, he was actually 18. Does that make a difference?
Even 18 is still mature. Is still immature. No way. They haven't lived, and the people that's around them. No one has mentioned the people that's around them. Okay, your child is amazing. Your child is very mature. Like my child, very mature. She's a good girl, but I still wouldn't trust her going any of these places. It's the people around them I don't trust.
Okay, Francis, what about that? You took a big risk letting your son go to Amsterdam.
He's 18 years old. I don't really... If I'd have said no, he could have went anyway.
No, they can't. That's the thing. If they're living in your house, age is only a number. If my girl wants to go out, she's 18, and she's still living in my home, she won't be going if I don't think it's appropriate. End of story.
And what if she's 20 and she wants to go?
This is the problem. Everyone puts it to the age. Everybody puts it to age. It's not age. It's the child. It's your child.
Yeah, I
know. And if they're living under your roof, they abide by your rules.
He loves my child. So if your daughter wants to go at 19, she's not allowed to go because she's living under your roof. And
19 and 17 is a big difference. She'd be experiences.
Look, at
17, she hasn't got any of that.
I don't know how I'd feel if I had a daughter.
Well, some people can't say girls and boys are different. I understand that. But boys are stupid when they're that age as well, because I was that age. And the things I got up to when I was doing that, I don't know how I'm still here.
I'm not saying that I have to take it as the word, and at some stage he could do what he did, or I don't know what they got up to. They had a fine time. They did the clubs. They did
what they did, but I'd rather them do that when they're a bit more mature and have a bit more life experience. And they don't have life experience at 17 or 18. They haven't a clue, especially when they're living at home with their parents who looked after everything. Now, my girl has worked in the last year and a half. She had her own money, and she was still told no.
Yeah, well, that's your prerogative. If that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel. But I don't think it goes for your thoughts might necessarily be what's going to happen. So,
but prevention is better. Prevention is better than cure.
Joe, a lot of people would say, how are they ever going to grow up and mature if they don't have life experiences like this? If they don't go to...
So you just throw them into the fire, do you? You just off you go, do it, and you learn by your mistakes.
That's to
do it slowly. Like we let her go to her friend's 18. We let her go into town to meet her boyfriend, things like that. And we see how mature she acts when she does that. If we give her time to be home, she was home at that appropriate time. She listens to us. She contacts us and lets us know on a text. Yeah, I made it in town. Everything's good. If she can do all of that and she builds her trust and confidence, yeah, no problem. But no 17-year-old should be in a foreign country in a group. None.
Okay, do me a favour, Joe. Stay on the line there for 1 second, because we've gotten a few messages saying parents like you are control freaks.
Yeah, listen. If I'm a control freak and it keeps protects my children, well, that's my job done.
Well, in fact, Lisa, you were one of those people who texted in to describe Joe as a control freak.
Well, yeah, I just texted in there, like, he sounds like a complete psycho freak. Like, I let her go to her friend's 18th. I let her go into town with her boyfriend. You let her, you don't own her. She's a person. She's nearly an adult.
Yes.
You need to back right off because you're a total freak. She's going to end up rebelling. Do you ever hear the phrase, and it's true, stricter parents raise better liars? And Adrian, I'm telling you now that... Shut up for a second, Adrian. I'm telling you now that is 100% true, that stricter parents raise better liars because the children have to lie just so that they can fit in with their friends. Like, you're a freak.
Okay, but this man is not taking a risk with his daughter. He's just not doing it.
Look, he's not
simple as, and I don't care what your opinion is or anybody else's opinion because it's not your child.
Will you
it's
care
my
what
child.
your daughter's opinion is when she thinks that her dad
I do,
is
yes,
because
we sit down and talk about it.
Tell her friends that she can't go because her dad's a loser.
No. Let me tell you something here. We sit down and talk about it properly, like parents and children do. Not like you. Your kids will be out till all hours and you won't give a rat's what they do anyway. You can already see what your kids are going to turn out like.
Down and talk to her dad.
If they sound Latin like you, God help them. That's what I'll tell you. God help them.
Oh, look, he has no argument.
Look and listen to you. I'm on this radio every week.
Okay.
Go and sort yourself out.
Adrian,
not on the radio every week, but anyway.
Wants to sit down with their parents while the parent tells them that they can't go. He's making a social reject out of the poor girl. I feel sorry for her. I let her go to her
friends. You haven't a clue. You haven't a clue. You don't have a clue. What is your eldest child?
Lisa, let me ask you, have you got teenage daughters?
I don't have teenage kids, but I have kids.
Right.
He's basically driving around in a car and doing walk.
Will you be quiet for a second, please?
There you
when
go.
the time
See,
comes,
you know it all.
I will let them do what they have to do. I won't be a freak of parents. No, I'm telling you now, his daughter's going to end up going to a field with a bag of cans because he's raising her to be a liar because she'll want to sit in with her friends and he's making a social pariah out of her.
She doesn't drink. My daughter doesn't drink.
She tells you she doesn't drink. She tells you that because you're a freak.
She doesn't drink because she doesn't stay out all night like your kids would.
And I'm sure she's never had a pull of a smoke either, and I'm sure she's never kissed a boy or had sex. You're living in your fantasy world. Why don't you send her over to the convent?
Listen to me, right? My child knows what she can do, what she wants to a certain extent, but she won't be going to a different country where I have no control over what happens. And her friends that she's with, and her friends that she's with, that have no control, which I witnessed from picking her up from a night out at an 18th, falling around her place with their dresses up over their heads for everyone to see everything.
Why are you even looking at them? Why are you even looking at them? Mind your business.
Because I'm picking my child up out of the middle of them. You can't see them when they're falling out in front of your car. What do you mean what they're looking at? When they're falling out in front of your car.
Lisa, a lot of people will say, fair play to this man. He is a responsible parent. It's a pity there aren't more responsible parents.
Oh, he's responsible, and he'll be so responsible when she's getting twisted in a field because she can't do it in the open. I'm telling you now,
but she doesn't.
Their parents.
But she doesn't. What are you talking about? Just because you did it.
Thing for it. That's just how it is.
Just because you done it. Not all children are like you.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Thank
do
God.
it. I had freedom, but I know people who did do it. And now, do you know what I've become because I was given freedom?
I done it. I done all what you were just saying. I done all of that.
And sorry, Joe, is it because you did it all that you feel?
It's because I done it all, and I know what I was like at 17, and I'd see a bunch of girls drunk, and I'd make a beeline for them. I'm not going to say I didn't. I went to Amsterdam. I went to the Canaries. I went to Lanzarote, 16, 17, 18. I done all of that. I see what goes on. I've seen it all, and I just don't want that for my daughter. And people like Lisa coming on the radio and saying I'm a control freak. If I'm a control freak, I'm a control freak. But at the end of the day, I'll sleep soundly because I know my child is safe. End of story.
We're in the middle of a conversation all to do with allowing a 17-year-old to go on a post-leaving cert holiday. Killian, you're on 98FM. How are you, Killian?
I'm very good, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thanks, Killian. You heard Joe a couple of minutes ago. No way. Absolutely no way. You can't believe parents would even consider this.
Yeah, well, now I'm only speaking I'm only giving my own opinion, but I couldn't agree with that man any more than possible. That leaves the girl, her head's in the clouds. Like we all know, I was a relatively sensible, well, not crazy teenager, and my peer group were a bit mad. There's no peer group or there's no group of teenagers where all of them are mature and sensible, and every 17, even 18, 19-year-old thinks they're mature enough to go abroad and on a drinking holiday, but none of them are. Like, it's just madness. And at the end of the day, as a parent, you're still responsible for that person. So, fair enough, giving them the freedom to go out and do things locally, but like, it's a different kettle of fish when you're letting them go abroad and drink the heads of themselves and who about and whatever, because that's what's going to happen when the drink's in, the weight is out. I just think it's crazy. Personally, I think it'd be a very negligent person to let that happen. Like, my eldest sister, she wanted to go on one of those post-leaving cert holidays, and my parents point blank said no, and she kicked up a bit of a fuss. And my parents weren't overprotective at all, but they knew what young ones are like. And I know what I was like at that age. And I can remember it being talked about in my peer group, and I didn't even bother asking my parents. I knew.
Because you knew you had no hope.
Yeah. Now, I still would have had respect for them to say that's okay. Like, I wouldn't. Generally, if you're throwing the rattler out of the pram and kicking up a big fuss, you've just been spoiled long before that. If you think,
I know, but when you are the only one out of your peer group, and let's say, for example, 10 of them are going to this holiday, and you're the only one at 17 or even 18 years of age that is not allowed go, that is going to make you feel like a social outcast.
Well,
we're not talking about 9-year-olds being sent to bed in the middle of summer before everybody else. We're talking about adults.
I still like, even at, like, we all see what how the carry on of J1 students do, and they're adults over in America over the summer, college students. Like, that's the type. Just put that type of freedom into the hands of a 17, 18-year-old. I don't think it matters.
You don't believe that they're able for it?
Yeah, I personally. And
so what age are they able for it then, Killian?
Well, I think it all depends. Ages vary, but if you're giving that child enough freedom, making them go out and work for everything they have and do everything and earn everything by themselves, well, then they're obviously mature enough to look after themselves independently. So that can happen at any age. But I think once those children start to go to college and realise they have to make a wage in order to get them through, it seems they're a little more adults.
All right, okay. Let me just bring in one last call. Mary, you're on 98 FM.
Hello, Adrian. How are you?
Very quickly, Mary, what did you want to say?
I'm listening to these people, and all I'm hearing is, when I was young and I did this and I did that. That fellow that was on earlier who spoke about not letting his daughter go anywhere.
Yep.
He was one of those very people that he's trying to keep her away from.
Oh, and that's why. That's his argument. That's why.
That girl has to live her life. I had a mother who was very, very strict. I wasn't allowed to do anything that everybody else did. And I was one that was in bed before everybody else in the summer, looking out the window.
And do you agree with what that lady Lisa was saying a couple of minutes ago, that stricter parents breed better liars?
Yes, I knew how to do that too.
All right, Mary, I'm sorry to cut across you, but I'm way out of time. But thanks very much, Lee, for your call. And Joe and Killian and Kevin, I'm sorry I didn't get to your call because I'm totally out of time. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98